Hey YouTube, Brian LCS, and welcome to the Amazing Spider-Man #4 review. So let's jump in. So last we left, Spider-Man was in a bit of a pickle. Tombstone had laid a trap for him and he was about to be executed. But we started off with a couple panels with Mary Jane. She is with her, what appears to be her daughter, and getting her tucked in and saying their goodnights. And in walks or climbs the black cat and has a couple questions for MJ. She's looking for Spider-Man, and word on the street is something is not going well. And so Mary Jane basically says, no, I have not talked to him, and mentions that she's interrupted bedtime. And so the black cat realizes, all right, she's probably overstepped, and leaves and says, hey, I'll let you know if I hear anything about Spider-Man. And so the daughter asks, who was that? And Mary Jane says, a friend from a long time ago. So here is the splash page. So this is a story by Zeb Wells, and John Romita Jr. is on the pencils on the art. So now we cut to Spider-Man in his predicament. You see that he has a gun to his head and he's trying to figure out how he's going to get out of this. He's trying to break the shackles that are on his hands, but they seem to be too strong for his strength. And so he's waiting for his spider sense to go off so that he can make his move. And then in walks Kareem. Now, Kareem is a goon that Spider-Man saved about 2 issues ago. There was a burning car and he pulled him out. So in walks Kareem and stops, the execution going on here. And basically says, look, there's been a change of plan. Tombstone, really just wanted to scare him. And, we need to kind of move on. And so the trigger man here says, hey, no, I did time because of Spider-Man. So, I'm going to finish this. And so Kareem takes matters into his own hands, pulls out a gun and a billy club, and basically stops the situation. He unlocks Spider-Man and basically tells him, hey, look, Tombstone has grabbed your friend Robbie Robertson, and so you've got some work to do here. So Kareem holds off the goons, and off Spider-Man goes. Now we cut to White Rabbit with Robbie Robertson, and he's bringing him to Tombstone, and we're not sure which direction this is going to go. And now we see another set of, which we believe is Tombstone's goons, and they're hearing some noises, some rumblings, and boom, in comes Spider-Man. And he is basically looking to stop, last issue, Tombstone laid out a plan where he had his men dress up as the Rose's men, and he was going to go, incite some violence in the city and kill some innocent people. And so, now that Spider-Man is free, he is on a mission to stop these guys. So, some pretty good, splash panel, like the way that is laid out. And then we see Randy Robertson and Tombstone's daughter now coming back into town. Randy was worried about his dad because he was not able to get a hold of him on the phone. And Peter and Randy are good friends. So Peter calls him and says, hey, you need to get to your dad, get to Tombstone. While he's dealing, as Spider-Man is dealing with these bunch of Tombstone's men who are dressed up like the Roses guys who are looking to hurt innocent people. So some great action. And so we're kind of cutting back and forth between Peter or Spider-Man dealing with the bad guys, and then Randy and Tombstone's daughter off to go meet with Robbie and with Tombstone. So Spider-Man is basically, walking through and taking care of the goons using a lot of webs. And he's, on a mission, right? He's using all of his wall crawling abilities and basically makes very quick work of all of the thugs that were looking to hurt people. And so then we cut back to Robbie getting to Tombstone, and then we continue to see the action between, cut back and forth. Now we see Randy get to the door, and we see Kareem and the other goon that was looking to hurt Spider-Man now at the door here. Again, we're cutting back and forth, panel to panel, kind of getting the action between the two different scenarios that are going on. And then we see Spider-Man finally reach the Rose, and he thinks, wow, this is, one of Tombstone's guys dressed up like the Rose. And he takes him out and then realizes that it actually is the Rose. It is Richard Fisk. And so he realizes that something's not right, and he may have been tricked into taking these guys out. And so we cut back, and now Tombstone and Robbie are, sharing a drink, and everything looks to be fine. And we kind of thought, Tombstone was looking to hurt Robbie, and now that turns out that isn't the fact. He was just really celebrating the news of the pending or the engagement between the son and the daughter. And so, Spider-Man realizes, oh boy, it looks like he's been tricked. And so Tombstone mentions, he said, his daughter says to him, what about the war? I thought, you were up to no good. And then he said, I've decided there were, more important things in his life. I wasn't really ready to give those things up. But it was a setup. He set up Spider-Man to take out all of the Rose's men and basically end his little feud between Tombstone and the Rose, who kind of duped Spider-Man into taking care of, the Rose and his army of men. So, and that's it. That's where we leave off. Overall, it was an okay story. Obviously, I'm glad that Spider-Man didn't get shot. A couple things that bother me in the issue. We still have this blob of blood that I mentioned to you guys in my last review. So now we're going on 2 issues where, Spider-Man took a beating. I get it. But this whole blob of blood sitting on his mask is just, I don't know. When I see it, it just kind of, I don't know if blood would, be that drippy and just stay in that spot on somebody's face or on a mask. I don't know. And then obviously just kind of a thin save here where, look, Spider-Man did save Kareem from, a burning car a couple, issues ago. So, certainly payback. But I don't know if this was part of the overall plan from Tombstone or if this was just kind of a hokey way to get Spider-Man out of a pretty good bit of danger here. So, and then too, early on, Mary Jane mentions that, when she's explaining about the Black Cat to her daughter, that it was a long, long time ago. Now, just 6 months ago, Peter and Mary Jane were getting back together. And so, Black Cat was involved. So, 6 months is not a lot of time. So just to say, she's a friend from a long time ago seemed a little bit weird of a piece of dialogue. But overall, the art seemed to be a little bit more consistent, little bit better for me. John Romita Jr., I thought some of the action sequences in that were done really well. But then, every once in a while, there's something that kind of just sticks out. Like I said, the blob of blood on Spider-Man's mask. And then sometimes when he's drawing faces, they can be a little, there's not a lot of detail, or, sometimes the proportions, the head compared to the body look a little, too out of proportion for me. Even some of the bodies here in the background, the 2 guys standing here. And I know some, that's background art. This is the main focus of the art here. So maybe I'm just being very, very critical. I mean, look at this panel. This is a great panel here. Spider-Man swinging into action, gunshots blazing, and he's, dodging them and going in after these guys. So maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just being a little bit too critical of the art. But overall, this was an okay story. Not the best, not the worst. I'm going to go with my rating system of 5 stars. Or five webs. I'm going to give it 2.5 webs for The Amazing Spider-Man #4. So that's it. Let me know what you think. Are you reading it? Have you stuck it out with the new run of Amazing Spider-Man? For me, it's been kind of up and down, a little bit of a roller coaster. But Spider-Man's my guy. I'm going to stick with it. But love to hear what you guys think of it. If you're reading it, what do you think of the storyline so far? What do you think of Zeb Wells' writing? What do you think of John Romita Jr.'s art? So let me know down in the comments, and we will see you for our next review in The Amazing Spider-Man #5. Thanks for watching.